Alright, chat. We're gonna be the bad guy. Jeskai fires. Keruga Macrosage. Fires of Invention here lets you play 2 busted spells in a turn. General idea, if you haven't seen this in Standard, it's been around for a few sets now. You play fires. Then on turn 5, you play your 5th land and play Cavalier of Flames, plus another 5-drop. Activate Cavalier of Flames twice and punch your opponent in the face for a lot of damage. Keruga Macrosage's restriction is that we can't play spells in our deck that have converted mana cost lower than 3. However, Brazen Borrower and Bonecrusher Giant both let you get around this very elegantly. We get to play 4 copies of Deafening Clarion in the main to not die to aggro. We've got Teferi, who's a turd, just good against a lot of things. Got a variety of disruption and extra threats to the board for we need to be aggressive. That's a good question. What's our rank? Our rank's probably holding fine. Yeah, our rank's 151, and the season ends in 25 hours, so I don't expect to need to play here, so I'm gonna go ahead and just sit on that for now. Ooh, do I finally have... Oh, I'm so close to the Jeskai Ultimatum, chat. Oh, I've got 2. Sick. Alright, so I'm gonna get the Jeskai Ultimatum, and then next Mastery Orb, we get to get Genesis. Yeah, so if you're someone that's looking to queue... If you're someone that's looking to queue in the top 1200, you're like top 2 or 300 right now, I'd probably just sit if I were you. That's why I'm sitting. And again, not a huge fan of how the ladder system's set up in general in Magic Arena with the arena's competitive play. Like, discouraging me from playing feels bad. I think having the ladder available is good, but I think queuing all of arena's competitive play off of it is kind of medium. I'm gonna keep this. We got Sphinx of the good hands here. In my opinion, I would like to see Arena explore something more similar to what Magic Online does, in where you can like play constructed events and earn points, and then you use points earned from constructed events to enter monthly or quarterly tournaments or something. Would be sweet, I think. Not having to worry about one of the nice things about that type of system is that, like, if you have a bad run, you just, like, lost some entry fees instead of, like, having to, like, have a good streak to match up, which is great. And don't get me wrong, I don't think they should get rid of the ladder. I like the ladder experience. I think people who like qualifying on the ladder, they should have that available. But I think they could have the current ladder experience and also offer something based off of the events. Yeah, I've got 1 swamp in the deck for Kenrith Reanimate with our Fabled Passages. Might be too cheeky, I don't know. It's a pretty low cost, right? All things considered. Probably blue-white control here. Mythic Ladder could just give those points as a rank. Sure, that's a good thought. I think we loot the Bonecrusher here as well as the lands. Keep the other Cavalier, obviously. Nice, Goons. You don't have fires on 4. Are you sure the deck isn't bugged? I'm actually not sure. And like, this play experience just sucks so much. Like, out of the Elspeth Conquers death with Yorion is just so obnoxious. Like, I literally just can't do anything, right? Like, if I make a play, it just gets exiled by this, so it's just like, go. So like, they tap out for this, and there's no punishment for tapping out, because if I make a play, they get to kill it the next turn. Yeah, and it's gonna be legal forever, right? Yeah, like both of these don't rotate till next fall. Yeah, the fact they didn't bounce Conqueror's Death there is interesting. Probably a small mistake on their part. There's nothing in their bin to get back, right? So, like, just wrong. No, there's nothing in their bin to get back, so it's, like, just a mistake. Oh, I could have... rotation does not happen till October. There are still 22 more weeks of Teferi. Not that I'm counting. Not that I'm counting, but there's still 22 more weeks of Teferi. Magic standard format always goes between 5 sets and 8 sets. When a 9th set would be introduced, the oldest ones rotate out. So the fact that I put the land into play tapped and didn't get to make them chump block last turn really coming back to bite me here. Would have been able to kill Narset had I put the land into play untapped the previous turn. The set releases are still on schedule during COVID. I imagine all of our... We're super dead here. Our hand is just super stacked. This is one of those games where, like, they're not going to kill us for, like, 9 more turns or a dozen more turns, but we can't win anymore. Dispute and Warboss sound great here. Deafening Clarion's obviously bad. I think I keep Bonecrusher as a way to stomp their Planeswalkers as opposed to Borrower. The instant speed on this isn't super useful against the Teferi deck. Oh, Conqueror's Death is very good here. It's probably better than Giant. Yeah, I guess COVID, depending on how agile their development environment is, it'll be interesting to see if they were able to pivot to their programmers working from home, or if we're gonna see delays on arena releases. Yeah, Dispute's another card that gets around the companion restriction too nicely. Based on the Morrow interview with TCC, this might actually be better for them. Really, Rook? What, do you have a tidbit or a highlight from that makes you think that? They did delay Jumpstart. Yep. He said they transitioned to remote pretty well. Good. Although, I wonder how much Morrow interacts with, like, the development team, though, too. Like, Morrow's, like, on the R&D side of Magic, right? Like, there's no guarantee that, like, what he touches also, like, has to do with what Arena's doing. Yeah, paper Magic might have a real challenge. Like, getting paper cards printed, a lot of those supply chains for something that's... Believe it or not, Magic's not an essential service, chat. So, like, non-essential things like that are going to get prioritized lower in production for the next little bit. So, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some disruption for that. Like, this current set, I would assume they already had a lot of it printed. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's disruptions in getting things printed for, sets for the next year or so. Oh, I fully expect not just Wizards, but a lot of companies to rethink, realign how they work in general. I'm going to be really interested to see what office leases look like a year from now, not only from companies that go out of business from this, but also companies that just realize they don't need office space. Companies are just like, oh, we're just as efficient or more so without paying for this office space. You're a programmer and your company didn't used to let many people work from home, and now they're giving people the option to permanently work from home since productivity didn't go down in any meaningful way. Yeah. Yep. I think there's going to be a lot of companies that are like that.
I know my responsibility. That's more like it.
One thing Morrow specifically mentions is that how they're doing meetings now, he has a lot more time to actually design cards. Oh, you mean when you get rid of stupid daily stand-ups, you have more time to actually do work? For people that aren't familiar with my background, before I became a full-time meme here on stream, I spent a year and a half doing process automation after my master's degree for a Fortune 50 company. So my meetings that could have been emails and daily/weekly stand-ups or whatever it is, like stop wasting our time. Hey, Canaphone, thanks for the thanks for the biddies. I appreciate that. Hope you're having a wonderful Thursday wherever you're at. Wednesday? It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday, my dude. Sorry. It's Blur's Day. Okie doke. So... Did I just say Teferi Time Raveler? I think it's just Time Raveler, right?
Sorry I'm late.
I think it's just Warboss again into Sphinx.
Trust me, I have a plan.
Okay. Your company didn't have infrastructure for any of us in the office to work from home until the day the governor ordered non-essential businesses to close. Yeah. Yeah, like, this whole thing definitely showed, like, whose companies were prepared and whose weren't. Like, I think it was Colbert on The Late Show said their team started transitioning to potentially have people working from home at, like, the beginning to middle of February. Which, the place is, there's really good, like, to show places that could be prepared and which ones took too long and dragged their feet. I think I'm doing this and attempting to draw an untapped right here. So I'm going to put a stop. How do I have a chance to I should have a chance to activate this stop after attackers. How do I stop I have to full control it? There isn't a place I can click to put a stop? Okay, so you have to full control. I can't click to put a stop. Okay. So I want to activate that to get the extra power on my goblin. My girlfriend bought me a pair of stretchy jeans after she heard you talk about them in the chat. They're so great. Like, having jeans that are actually comfortable is such a big quality of life upgrade. They're wonderful. If you haven't experienced jeans that are partially spandex, chat, 10 out of 10 would recommend.
I won't let you win.
And for reference, they look like normal jeans. They're great. Yeah, I got, like, no joke, I got rid of all my other pairs. What are these jeans where I get them? Almost every brand has them. I'm wearing Izod jeans is the brand that I like, but basically every jean brand has, look at the, they're called different things, like Izod calls them comfort stretch, but if you look at what they're made out of, they have some amount of spandex in them, and they're wonderful. If you're someone out there that works for a jeans company, I will wear and shill your jeans. Listen, my 25 to 35 largely male audience who predominantly lives in the United States, I'm sure many of them are slightly overweight like myself and would enjoy stretchy jeans. So this stream is not currently sponsored, but jeans companies, if you're out there, it certainly could be. I feel attacked. I put on my wife's leggings for the same reason. God bless. Just be comfortable, you know? This hand's great. Hey, look, our deck plays Fires of Invention. Yeah, the thing that really resonated with me with Sterling's videos is the number of people who reach out to you as when you're a content creator who like claim they like your content and very clearly have never watched anything you've made. Those are the ones that get me. I had an email from someone the other day that I responded to because it seemed like they had a reasonable offer, and in their message back to me to my response, they actually said, "By the way, what's the link to your Twitch channel?" And it's like, well, one, if you don't have that, why did you email me to begin with? And two, the link to my Twitch channel was in the signature of the email you're responding to, so you're probably both pretty lazy and stupid to have missed that, in addition to not having it in the first place. Modian, thanks for the 16 months. Needless to say, I declined to respond to their follow-up. Correct. Also, cursory Google search would save you a lot of time, but, you know, they didn't even have to do that. They didn't even have to do that. And I know they won't hear me say that because they don't know what my Twitch is, you know? Maybe I'm supposed to stick Teferi there. I don't know, it's close. The Warboss kills them pretty quickly. We'll see if they have land veto here as well. No land. You love to see it.
Trust me. You'll thank me later. No, I am not making this up as I go.
Any shady businesses yet? I mean, we all know you're truly a cam girl. No, I regularly reject. Actually, I talked about one the other day. I had a company approach me that wanted me to advertise a wireless headset that they made, and the headset was $200, and it had bad reviews on Amazon, and they refused to send me a product to try myself. Believe it or not, I told them no. I was like, well, you don't want to send me one and the reviews are bad. So I feel like anybody that would advertise your product probably would advertise anything. Like, I don't know. What brand? I'm not going to tell you the brand. I'm not going to give them a free negative. Any publicity is good publicity, chat. You don't put brand names and stuff like that. You don't give them the freebies. Yeah, Fox, looking at cards from what's it called? From Pioneer, potentially. Oh no, they killed my creatures. How will I ever survive now? I'll never recover. Are they dead? Are they dead? I think they're dead, right? Pretty close to it. This is 9, and this is 8. All right, so if I draw another red Cavalier, they're dead. When is the historic announcement due? I assume we'll get more information about Historic Anthology 3 in the May State of the Game update. So probably another week and a half for that. I did go ahead and schedule the next Hoaglandia Open. I see some people using that command in chat throughout the course of the day. So the next Open is available for signups. That's going to be May 23rd. So I wanted to get a day picked out for that so people know in advance. Also, scheduling it later than that might be dicey with Christie's due date. So, wanted to make sure we get one more in before the new kiddo gets here. And then we'll probably have a 5 or 6 week break in between this one and the next one. So that way, we can get things settled after she comes. Blatella, thanks for the 3rd of the year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. I already signed up. Went 0-2 the first time, 2-2 the second time, ready to 4-2. God bless. Progress. It doesn't look like it came up similar. Also, it's probably not 12 months because your badge is the 11th month. For the people that said they 0-2 twice, listen, you've got nowhere to go but up. I believe in you. I believe in you. And remember, Magic tournaments are designed to create many losers and only one winner. Like, when I was traveling to play a lot of Magic, I had a 20 or 23%, somewhere between 20 and 25. I don't remember exactly. I had just above a 20% top 8 percentage on the SCG tour. And having a 20-ish% top 8 rate is considered very good in Magic the Gathering. This game has an incredible amount of variance. So, because they have Yorion here to play out next turn, I'm actually going to Teferi bounce their Omen of the Sea so they don't get a free blink off it next turn. You went 1-0 drop because life happened. Sometimes life does in fact happen. You are not wrong. No place here. Feels real bad. That Numot had a 65% win rate in draft, which was the highest among all players in the MC. Yep. My grandfather always said if you're bad at something, keep it up. Eventually someone might feel sorry and give you a box of money. Your fiance eats whipped cream directly from the can. I mean, I eat whipped cream out of the tub with a spoon. Hey, thanks. Thank you. Thanks for the 15 months. Welcome back. I mean, you eat ice cream on its own, right? Whipped cream is just a type of ice cream. Come on now. Might explain the need for the stretchy jeans. Ow! 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 Ow, that's just rude. That's just rude. And again, can't really do anything here. Man, if I qualify for this MCQ next month, what am I gonna play? These matches are such a stain. these 80 card piles of draw everything and shatter the aggro decks. I should just play the cycling deck. Yeah, probably.
Don't worry, I got.
Oh, the mutate deck is funny. Yeah, we'll have to try that one again. The MCQ thing's on the 15th, right? I love Pouncing Shark, Zach. Plus, then you get to say you're gonna jump the shark, which is just, it's just good clean living. I don't want to play Magic with you anymore, opponent. I think I'm supposed to cut Keruga here because their deck's just way bigger and greedier than ours. I think we're supposed to just go on the counter spells and beat down plane here. It's like ain't got no time for value. You need to just run people out of the game. Yeah, the Auspex mutate deck that goes really big and like flips its deck into play on turn 4 or 5 is pretty good. We should call Pouncing Shark the Fonz. Why? What am I missing there? Fonz jumped the shark. Alright. But the shark's doing the jumping, chat. You're not jumping the shark is jumping you. Do I have to explain everything to you, Twitch chat? We've been playing Teamer Auspex with Red Cav and Omnath. Alright, who's got 2 thumbs is going to Mystic Dispute the crap out of any 2-mana spell they play here? This guy right here. I'm going to shock this in case they give me a non-blue spell to dispute next turn. Countering that's ideal because it basically stops 2 draws since Yorian's going to get to blink it later. Oh, we got you, Cyrix. We got you. Aim to please. That's actually a pretty good draw, right? Because I get to shock this in and play this with the speed up now. Radio Jawa, thanks for the 7 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. The old bluff shock there. Mystic Dispute and Teferi are like the 2 most played cards in the Channel Fireball event last weekend, right? I believe. Need to check my profile. I tweeted a picture of it. Yeah, Mystic Dispute followed by Teferi were the two most played cards. Legion Warboss doing what Legion Warboss does there, helping us get under them efficiently. This is definitely a matchup where we're the beatdown. Their deck is much bigger and greedier than ours, so we need to get the game over ASAP. That goes both ways, Hickahawk. Because it checks both. So it technically... Remember, everybody that has a Twitch account could technically stream from their Twitch account too. So it wants to be able... If you wanted to run a sub-tournament, it doesn't have different permissions for the different features on their site. Yeah, Hickahawk is linking their Twitch. They're just reading what MTG Melee wants permission to do with that link. So like when you there isn't like a link your Twitch account for purposes of joining a tournament and a different link your Twitch account for purposes of running a tournament. They're all just the same button on Melee. I think we keep Sphinx of the good hands here. Need to hit a couple of lands. Okie doke. We got 2 more shots, or 3 more shots, right? No, 2 draw steps. 2 draw steps. Hit another land here for the Warboss sometime.
Done the hero thing before.
God, holy crap. Just not that. Listen, if you don't want to be informed on what's going on in the world, especially in the US, you shouldn't read this thread, but this thread is unreal. Unreal. Fuck the GOP and everybody who votes for the GOP. That is unreal. Sorry, I've been trying not to swear with the kids at home, but there really just isn't a better word to describe my feelings with that thread. And for people that aren't going to click into the thread at the moment right now, like, it shows the verbiage from a leaked internal GOP memo that helps GOP legislators talk about opening early and words to avoid to help subvert public opinion towards wanting to reopen even though it's not safe. It basically is a how-to guide to encourage early reopening in GOP-controlled states. Even though most experts and even the Trump admin are, you know, that's, yeah, it's like, it's please stop the timeline. I would like to get off. Untapped land tier, please. My deck has 30 lands in it. Untapped land tier, please, so we can Conquer's Death this and kill Teferi.
This might be a bad idea.
I guess I can do this and just bounce their thing. I guess, actually, if we draw an untapped land tier, I get to have Stroke up, and then that's really good.
I've got
The old 30 lands later. Do I ever get magic fatigue? And if you do, what are your mitigating strategies? So the thing that I always mention when people talk about things like magic fatigue is that Magic's not one game. Magic is a series of games tied together by a rules engine. So one of the ways in which I avoid magic fatigue is just by playing lots of different kinds of Magic, essentially. When Standard's dry, I play Historic, there's Pioneer, there's Modern, there's Legacy, and like, those different formats have their high points and their low points, but there's almost always a format or two that I really enjoy playing. Well, so we're dead, right? Yeah. I guess I could sit here and play through this, but like, yeah. This format feels very quickly, it feels like a greed arms race at the moment, which probably means decks like what we're currently playing are not a great choice. You probably want to respect aggro less and go up more and more. I don't know, I don't know that, like, having a deck that's mono counterspells be at the top of the format would also be ideal. Like, I had in my thread talking about my distaste for this card on Twitter yesterday. The common thing that kept coming up is the only good thing people can say about Teferi Time Raveler is that he keeps things that are more obnoxious in check. And it's just like, well, if that's the only redeeming quality about this card, maybe it just shouldn't exist, and the things that it keeps in check also shouldn't exist. Back to mass manipulation deck. Sarcastic Boot. Yeah, very, very similar. Thanks for the 3 months to Link. I'm gonna just draw a card with this right away, I think. Just in case they have like a Murderous Rider or something. 22 weeks is gonna fly by if we stay quarantined. Maybe. What if, yeah, the best way to describe time currently that I heard that's really resonated with me, the days are fast and the weeks are long, is a good summary of how I feel about time moving at the moment. Looks like Sultai mid-range / control here. Maybe, I guess they could be a ramp deck too here theoretically, right? We could get Agent of Treachery next turn. I'm gonna do this and dig for fires, I think. This has reach, so no attacks.
I have a plan.
You measure times by the amount Jeff streams, something like that. I've done a lot of that lately, to be fair. Wishclaw fires. Nah, it sounds pretty slow and clunky. Casting a black spell early on the mana base is rough. It's worse than just having access to Clarion and Teferi Time Raveler easily. I think they're both pretty bad, Panda. There were some casualties in the war, chat. There were some casualties in the war, chat. Okay. See if they have another casualties here or not. Been enjoying the opens of the brews. Keep it up. Thanks for the 5 months, Tiger. Cavalier of Gales here. Give us a chance to find a red Cavalier and really punch the clock next turn. If they don't have another Casualties of War, that is. If they do have another Casualties of War, like, I'm going to get to play Swamp and cast Cavalier anyways. Our clock will be a little bit slower. Will I be streaming Pioneer again if people submit Pioneer decks? The last Magic Online deck in the queue is Pioneer. So tomorrow morning stream will start with Pioneer, but after that, I have no intentions of adding Pioneer decks to the queue myself. The channel's interest overall in Pioneer is pretty much just like took a nosedive off the cliff with Theros. I'd be pretty surprised if it picks back up. We'll see how tomorrow goes. Usually how it works is like we'll have one Pioneer deck in the queue, and like if tomorrow goes well, there'll be more interest from others in seeing it played. And if tomorrow doesn't go well, people will be less interested. Sure. Sounds great. Gain some life. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that like the idea of Pioneer. But the current execution of Pioneer leaves a bit to be desired. Oh yeah, of course we have stuff to reanimate, chat. Are they dead here? There's a good chance they're dead here, right? Feels like they have a piece of interaction. Oh, I should have left the bad cards in my hand, right? Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter. Go. And even if they kill this, we're still at 6, right? So it's like not a big deal. I can't wait to cast my Smuggler's Copter with Luris and Pioneer. Thoughts on full control, activate haste on king, then with it on the stack, bring back the other thing? That's just the optimal play, right? I missed that line. It's a very good line. So could have activated this, then while the haste ability was still on the stack, used the other one, so that way they couldn't kill Kenrith in response to deny me haste on my last thing. It's a good catch. Alright, so Kenrith and Red Cavalier are both lethal next turn. We get 4 draws at them, plus a scry. With that, I can scry first and still have enough red mana to haste, right? Yeah, we can. Companions are less busted than Tef, and I'm not sorry. Ain't that the truth? I agree. You're in good company here. I also think companions are just more fun to play with than Teferi, and I think them being fun to play with matters. I think companions do a pretty wide range of sweet things, whereas Teferi does specifically one thing, and it really sucks. That's not true. Teferi does 2 things, and they both suck. Alright, so they're playing like Assault Side Control deck. Warboss is probably better than Clarion. Conquer's Death, probably better than Bonecrusher. Click Submit. I don't think I want Stroke or Dispute here. Sometimes people send me money to play good decks, Manny. Totally reasonable. Thanks for the half a year. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. We got, we're 1-1. We lost to a pile of Yori and Greed. Technically, Teferi does 3 things and 2.5 of them suck. Fair. Yes, yeah, cards that enable sweet things are much better than cards that take away my choices. I just like choices, chat. That's all I want are lots of choices. Bofkek, thank you for the 2 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Hope you're having a good one wherever you're at. This is a great tweet. In the words of happier tweets, when people say companions are broken and you're like the mechanic or the ability to play with them on Arena, that's great. Low-hanging fruit's the best fruit, chat. I don't want to work for my fruit. Come on now. Make it easy to just pick off the vine. Make it easy to just pick off the vine. Please and thank you. He also makes me sad. It's a lot of basic forests over there, opponent. It's a lot of basic forests. Gosh, I hope I draw a second 5-drop to pair with my Cavalier. Oh, what's that deck? I just have a guaranteed 5-drop in my companion? You love to see it, chat. You love to see it. Gosh! If they don't have a counterspell for next turn, they're going to be in a lot of trouble, chat. Hope they have a counterspell so they can interact with my stuff. If they don't have a counterspell, they're in a lot of trouble. Oh, what's that, Teferi? They can't have a counterspell, Teferi. That's so weird, Teferi. Why would you deny them their ability to play a counterspell? It's just like, this game isn't even interesting, right? I did my thing, and like, yeah, I guess, alright, go. Like, was this fun? Like, I don't, like, this wasn't really even fun, right? Like, and that's like, I don't know. I just have such mixed feelings on these fire decks. Yeah, it's just like, there was no counterplay, right? Yeah, it was neat. It was neat when it was novel, right? And like, now that the novel's worn off and there's no counterplay, there's very little counterplay, it's just like, eh. We could have killed them if we played an untapped land with the Warboss and then bounced fires. It's a good catch. It's a good catch. We could have killed them sooner. Magic would be more exciting if you multiplied every number on every card by 1,000. It would definitely feel bigger. Sure. Yeah, I think we bottom Brazen Borrower. They're playing Luris, right? Yeah, so definitely bottom Borrower. We're going to be digging for a Deafening Clarion with Sphinx here. We actually think Fires of Invention is a terribly designed card. I disagree with that sentiment. I actually really like what Fires is attempting to do. I like the problem I feel like is that Fires or Teferi alongside Fires lets you force the drawback of Fires onto your opponent. I like powerful payoffs that give you a drawback to leverage them. I actually think that's an incredibly interesting design space and one I'd like to see explored more with. I think again, the biggest thing I take issue with is this card's removal of a lot of the counterplay that you would normally have against decks like what we're playing. I feel like Magic, and especially Standard, has a number of good safety valves to make things like Fires a pretty fine design to print overall. But those valves are largely ignorable when you get this card out. If that makes sense. Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think Wilderness Reclamation is a much more erroneous card
Don't worry, I got this.
than Fires of Invention is. If you're ever wondering when Teferi rotates, bit.ly/tuck Teferi will give you a countdown to his eventual leaving of Standard. I think I'm bottoming that. I think I'm mostly looking for fires at this point. I get to instant speed Clarion here, because why not? Because why not? Yeah, so the core set this summer is a Teferi set. But it's important to remember that Teferi is not an inherently bad character, right? Like, not every card that has Teferi as the character on it is gonna be obnoxious. Just like there's good and bad Chandras and there's good and bad Garrix, like... I actually think 5-mana Teferi's a pretty reasonable design. I think the only miss on 5-mana Teferi's design is the fact that he can tuck himself back into your deck. If 5-mana Teferi didn't self-tuck, it's a super reasonable card. I'm going to do this in response. They're going to get to bring the cat back and sack the cat to priest, but I think that's fine. I don't want to let them sack the crocs to the priest. Oh, that's probably a wash. I'm going to do this at some points. Might as well do it now. I think I'm discarding Sphinx here. So that way I can play Kenrith with some life gain. If I get greedy and bin the land and then like draw another 5-drop, I probably lose the game, so I don't think I can afford to do that. That's only really relevant with next. Well, I'm going to give you a 10-minute break because you don't get to ignore and rewrite history. Teferi tucking himself was something that happened with a lot... Oh, you know what? I should have gotten my black source, huh? Should have gotten my swamp. Teferi tucking himself was something that came up in a lot of different decks, not just Nexus of Fate. In fact, most of the decks where Teferi tucked himself were not Nexus of Fate decks. If you had Nexus of Fate in your deck, Teferi didn't need to tuck himself. Well, that's rough. Do I chump block here so I can unsummon this? Probably not, because then I don't get to draw a card because of the oven.
You just let me know if you're up for round 2.
Haste there. Haste there was pretty huge. Can double block this next turn at least, but there's going to be Luris coming out here shortly, which is going to give us trouble. Dead. No, we're still at like 150 Space Ace. Not worried about it at all. Couple of cages. Drop this for Borrower. Probably fine. Man, I have a text message that says, "It's Joe Biden, can I call you?" That would have been, I wish I would have seen that 2 hours ago when it came. That could have been fun to answer on stream. I'm sure it's just a person from his staff, but on the off chance, that would have been amusing. Can you respond now and say yes? I was watching the cycling deck. Any tips? Let's not make jokes like that in my channel, little Tad. Thanks. Hey, look, it's the land I wanted for Christmas. He asked me to be his running mate. Yeah, something like that. I have no idea what you're referring to, Redlocks. What do you mean by companion rulings? I'm not legally allowed to be Vice President of the United States. I know the gut and the angry old man persona and the lack of hair projects an age much older than myself, but I am but 29, chat. I am but 29. Okay. Alright. I just baked my Cavalier into pie, chat. You have to be 35 to run for president or be vice president of the United States. Twitch chat adds on the years. Yeah, something like that. A house, a wife, 2 kids, a third on the way. So much boomer energy. Got that big boomer energy. Should hold lands in case we draw another red cav. I mean, another red cav should be game over, right? Also, getting the 6th land into play so I can triple activate Red Cav seemed valuable. So at the very least, I want the 6th land in play. When are you going to start blaming millennials for the death of Standard? I actually don't think 35 is a terrible age minimum. If I was allowed to make changes to the presidency, I would add an age maximum. Like, I think 65 is probably a good number. If you would be 65 when you're inaugurated, you're ineligible. Tim Louie, thanks for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. Yeah, I keep this. It's got Clarion and Fires. We're on the draw. I don't know. I'm mostly of the opinion that if you're allowed to take out a lifetime crippling amount of student debt, you should also be considered responsible enough to drink. That's where I fall on the drinking age in the United States. We tell 18-year-old kids they're allowed to take out a lifetime's worth of crippling debt, but at the same time they're also not responsible enough to drink alcohol. Like, As someone who's had both student loans and a mortgage, the paperwork difference you go through to get a mortgage versus like taking out a student loan that can be for comparable sums is just nonsense. I think we're in for all the Clarions here. Yeah, the plan, for those wondering what the Open Series events is, the Open right after set release will be Standard, and then the following 2 Opens will be Historic. So this Open and the next one will be Historic. Now, I really have no interest in playing Brawl. I have no interest in commentating Brawl. I think competitive EDH is an oxymoron. And it's not something that I would want to encourage others to do. I think the appeal of formats like EDH is not the competitive side of it. I meant to ask, the video Jim Davis put out was about rulings on what rulings? Can you give me an example? Like, I still don't understand what you're referring to. Like, what's the problem? We went 2 and 2. I don't know. I don't really have strong opinions on this deck. When we play decks that are like considered one of the better decks in the format, I don't really like to give too many strong opinions because there's other people that are playing lots of Magic that have opinions on them that have more experience than me. I don't find the gameplay of this deck particularly interesting or compelling. This was a deck that I accepted right after the set release, and I think after playing it and seeing how the format's developed, I don't think I'd take money to play this deck again. I think even though it's fine, it's just not interesting. Like, even when we're winning, I'm just kind of bored. The play patterns of these 2 cards together basically turn the game into Hearthstone effectively, and it's just not exciting. Speaking of things that are exciting, though, let's play something sweet, huh? You're gonna jam some Jeskai cycling up next here. You got some Godzilla Doom Inevitables, and some Foxies, and some Shark Typhoons. I'm going to go ahead and hit a quick ad roll while I get my client restarting, get my deck list updated everywhere. We'll be back in just a few minutes with this excellent, very trim pile of cards.